What's up, guys? This is Alexander. I'm in the car wash right now, getting a quick wash. Anyways, a question by, this is Maharaja. He asked about his shoulders cracking when he's bench pressing, and is that normal? So shoulders are cracking, he's not in pain, but they're cracking. And when he bench presses, obviously you can feel the joint kind of making that crunch noise. He also said that his bench press strength has gone up about 20 pounds in a short period of time. So overall situation, if we assess this from the outset, and I'll restate the situation, if you have cracking joints and you've had very recent increases in strength, that's very normal. So if you're shoulder pressing, let's say you've gone from pressing the 30s to the 50s pretty fast in just a few weeks, or your bench press, or your squat, or even your rows, any kind of compound movement where you've had a dramatic strength increase in a short period of time, it's very normal to start experiencing joint creaking, cracking, grinding, etc. And that's not bad in the sense that, oh, I'm in pain. You might not, it just is noise, you can feel it. But what's happening? What's happening is that your muscle gains are outpacing your joint gains, so to speak. So your joints, your connective tissue, your ligaments, your tendons, your bones, those are a lot slower to adapt and progress than your muscle. Muscle tissue heals and gets stronger very quickly compared to your joints, compared to your bones. So your muscles, they can, I mean, you can imagine, you can be a guy training, your muscles, you could put on 30 pounds of muscle in a year. You can literally add tissue every single day. That's pretty quick in regards to, on a biological scale. In contrast though, your bones, your bone density, like I said, your tendons, your connective tissue, your fascia, your ligaments, that's a lot slower. That takes a lot longer to get stronger. And it's already pretty strong. It is. But as you start making those strength gains, it can start to lag behind a little bit. So what can happen is that you can have a really dramatic increase in, like, let's say your bench press. Bench press goes from, let's say, 185 to 225. Awesome, you're benching 2 plates. Shoulders start to hurt. Shoulders start to feel weird. Why is this happening? It's happening because your tendons haven't caught up yet. What do you do? What do you do? Hopefully you guys can still hear. Anytime you have big strength increases like that, you have to keep the weights the same for a while. I'm not talking about going backwards, but when you start getting that creaking, grinding, cracking, popping, etc., that's a sign that you need to back off a little bit with pushing the loads. You need to increase the rep range, stick with, let's say, 6 to 10, 6 to 15 reps, and focus on just getting your sub-maximal strength ranges stronger. So instead of going for a 5 rep max, get your 10 rep max up. Fuck, that's loud. All right, there you go. Instead of constantly trying to get your 1 rep max up, back off from doing that for 4 months and try and increase your 6 rep max. Take your 6 rep max, make that a 10 rep max. There's a lot of ways to do it, but you cannot stick with maximal strength gains all the time. Expecting your 1 rep max to go up constantly, or your 5 rep max to go up constantly, or your 3 rep max to go up constantly, it's not gonna happen. What's gonna happen is that you're gonna burn out, injure yourself, start to develop imbalances, or some combination of all 3, and then you're screwed, and then you're starting over from square 1. So if you've been getting stronger, you're making those strength gains, overall plan, train for hypertrophy, train for more strength endurance for a while, allow your body, allow your connective tissue to catch up, and then once you've done that, and you can tell, okay, I was dumbbell pressing the 50s, now I can dumbbell press the 50s for 5 sets of 10 very easily, then you can go back to the heavier weights. So over the course of a year, you're training heavy weights, low reps, lighter, relatively speaking, lighter weights, higher reps. It waves up and down, and that's what a training continuum is. You're not sticking with the same plan endlessly, mindlessly for months and months and months and months and months. Any questions? Yo is not a question, but what's up? Sexy hair, bro. Thanks, bro. Any questions, gentlemen? Tips on maintaining muscle during a cut. You have to keep protein intake up, 1. So when you're cutting weight, when your calories are low, curious your background on this, I've been a personal trainer for 8 years. When you're cutting weight and your calories are low, your body's more likely to metabolize lean body mass as a fuel source, meaning your body will use muscle for energy. To avoid that while you're cutting, you have to increase your protein intake higher than it normally would be at. Like Casper the Ghost right now. Now, the other thing with while you're cutting, don't fast while you're cutting. I'm not a fan of fasting while doing a deep cut. The reason being is the longer you go without protein intake, the more likely you are to lose muscle. So increase protein intake, and then also at the same time, make sure your eating frequency is somewhere at least 3 meals a day. Thoughts on training 4 days compared to 6 days? What's the question though? 4 days versus 6 days relative to what? Hypertrophy, strength, power, athletic training? That's very variable. I need context to answer that question fully. There we go. Bodybuilding. 4 days versus 6 days, both can work. Both are effective, depends on your training capacity, depends on your recovery capacity, depends on your lifestyle, depends on your genetic response, depends upon your level of, let's say, muscular development. So there's no right, wrong, yes, no answer to that. 4 days can work, 6 days can work. It depends on where you're at along your personal continuum. Training on a 5-day fast, that is stupid. I don't know why you would do that, honestly, unless you just want to test yourself for the sake of testing yourself. There is no performance advantage of any kind of fasting 5 days than going to train at all. Zero. Any other questions, guys? This is question time. We already talked about the topic. This is questions. Thoughts on no fap? If you want, dude. I like that. I know no fapping, no masturbation is popular in the manosphere. Yeah, I've never done it. I've never felt the need to. I have pretty high testosterone levels. My, sex life is solid. So if you want to, if it's good, if you think it's good for you. Why are you driving to a Periscope? Because I was in a car wash, drive-through car wash, and now I am driving, and I feel like it. Best oil to cook with? There's a few. Walnut oil, coconut oil, peanut oil, avocado oil, olive oil. Any of those work well. When you're cooking with oil, you want something that's not hydrogenated. So no vegetable oil, no canola oil, and then you don't want a high smoke point. Thoughts on Dr. Stuart McGill's powerlifters should not do yoga, spinal collagen? Okay, so that's a really good question. You know your shit. Stuart McGill, very brilliant guy. Obviously, great research in regards to spinal health. I know probably none of you know what I'm talking about, but just, one of you does. So McGill, he's made a lot of inroads in insights into maintaining, the health of the spinal column, and you only have so many bends in your spine, basically. His suggestion to not do yoga, I could agree with it in certain instances. This comes down to someone's individual anthropometrics. Some people, some people do not have the structure to really benefit from deep stretching, yoga style stretching, where you're really trying to get maximal spinal bend. Some of the poses in yoga, some of the forms of yoga, it can be very, very stressful in the joints. And if you are a power lifter, you are that kind of athlete where you're training for maximal, you're training from absolute strength and stiffness, I could see where it really would not be beneficial at all, and it could be even detrimental. At the same time, there are some forms of yoga that could be beneficial, so it comes down to a case-by-case situation. But yeah, and as a general question, is yoga going to be good for powerlifting? Probably not. It's probably not going to be necessary, not unless you just have terrible flexibility, joint mobility, and maybe it's beneficial from a therapeutic sense. But in regards to just deep spine bending, I don't really suggest that unless you're really, like I said, structurally inclined for it. So everyone that asked a question, I just ignored all of them. Ask them again. Thanks for your answer. Welcome, dude. That was a really good question. That's a really good question. So, I mean, case by case, but I could argue both sides, but I understand very much where he's coming from. Best foods to eat deep into a cut? Whatever you can eat, honestly. Importance of days off? You have to take days off. How else does your body recover? You don't grow in the gym. As far as foods in a cut, it's whatever you've been eating. I mean, just keep your protein intake up. Eat nutritious foods, eat whole foods. There's no special cutting foods, though. You're just eating less foods. Being in a cut means you're eating less, period. There's no such thing as diet foods. Dieting is just not eating as much food as you were, prior. So, nothing really remarkable there, I can tell you. In regards to recovery, like I just said, guys, you recover when you're out of the gym, not when you're in the gym. On the days off thing, I'm puzzled. What are you puzzled about? You recover when you're not in the gym. Your body needs time to rest and create the adaptations. Benefits of deadlifts. Deadlifting does a lot for you. It teaches you to resist gravity, get your body aligned, strengthens the posterior chain, can improve athletic power, power development, strength, verbal strength, coordination, grip strength. What's the difference between a day off from the gym, a day off from that muscle? Wait, what's the question? A day off from the gym means you're not creating a training stimulus. If you're taking a rest day, it means I am not doing anything to dig into my body's recovery capacity. I'm not trying to apply a stressor, I'm trying to de-stress. That's taking a day off. Taking time off, taking days off, sleeping, that's all crucial for, like I said, physical development. You know, that's not arguable at all. There's very, very few people that can train every day and make very consistent gains. Not unless your recovery capacity is extremely high. And that for that to be the case, if you're going to train every day, you have to have everything on point with your lifestyle. Sleep, nutrition, stress, managing your stress levels, time management, sex life, hormones, all that stuff has to be like a razor blade. You can't have poor recovery and live a shitty lifestyle and then train all the time. You will burn yourself out, and you also won't make progress, you won't make gains. You got the look of an actor. Yeah, I've been told that. Appreciate it. I'm not an actor. Any other questions, boys and girls? Why do you say take creatine every day? Because creatine has a lot of health benefits and it's super absurdly, stupidly cheap. I mean, you don't have to take every day. Presumably if you had a high protein diet, you could argue that I don't need to take creatine. You don't need to take creatine, but as this a cheapy supplement that does good things for you, yeah, take creatine. Helps with muscle hydration, helps with power production, helps with recovery. Yeah, it has actually cognitive benefits as well. So, and it costs a year's supply of creatine. I talked about this on Mark Baxter's podcast, but creatine, it's just, I don't suggest it as a necessity. It's just so absurdly cheap. You can get a year's supply of creatine for, what, maybe $30? $40 at most. Sun glare. Can you cut while still gaining muscle mass? You can, but your diet lifestyle really has to be on point. If you're overweight, and when I say overweight, I don't mean like a little bit thick in the middle, but I mean, let's say you're 20, 30, 40 pounds overweight or you're obese, you can definitely lose fat and gain muscle at the same time, but that's because your body composition is so fucking skewed towards fat. If you're not overweight and you're lean and you're trying to gain muscle at the same time that you're cutting, that's harder to do. The irony is that, if you're fatty, it's easier to gain muscle and lose fat. If you're lean, it's a lot harder to gain muscle while losing fat, or it just doesn't happen at all. Now, if you're really lean and you're cutting, you're not going to gain any muscle, period. That said, though, can you create the effect? You can, but like I just said, meal frequency, you better be eating, protein-rich meals at least, 4 times a day. You better be sleeping every day. You better be getting your micronutrients in every day. You better be resting every day. Sex, life, effects on health. Everyone feels better when they have sex. That's pretty much fucking 100% fact. I don't know anyone that is underfucked and is happy about it. So, the qualitative mood benefits of sex, of regular fucking, I think that's pretty indisputable. Any other questions, guys? Nope. All right, gentlemen. Good talks to me, good questions. Train hard, train smart. Be self-aware. Talk again.